Okay, so here we're going to talk about as much as I can remember from my past, which is a lot. Although there's some holes that I still remember. I don't really care if you believe that I remember or not. This is what I remember. So I remember being in the womb. Actually, I remember the Guff. I remember you're allowed to ask God one question before you leave the Guff. And I always ask him if I could skip the life. And he always says, oh dear, you can't skip the life. So I said, fine. I want to remember the Guff so that I remember that there is someone that loves me. I said, fine, Tara, off you go. So off I go. Into the little squishy womby thingy. And wait for my little eggy thingy. And then this time, I had a fraternal twin. I said, like, I have a fraternal twinny. He's a boy. And I remember my mother was studying astrology. She would read out loud to us. And my brother didn't understand some things. I guess he wasn't as smart as me or whatever. But I would explain to him what Mom was reading to us. Only he decided he didn't want to live either, I guess. He said God said it was okay. He was not going to sit around for about 50 years to watch me be traumatized for he said approximately 50 years. That's what he said. He said God said it was okay. And I just wanted to say goodbye to him. And I put my little hand out to his hand. And I guess he touched my hand with his hand or something. I don't know. So that was probably the first multiple DNA. I have part of my fraternal brother in me. Apparently you have to touch the other child in the womb with you. I don't remember what color his eyes were, but maybe the same as mine, maybe different, I don't know. So then I could talk to my mom, just I guess telepathically or whatever. We would chat, and I heard her talking one day to my father, and he was making fun of her after she told him that she could talk to me, and I would answer back. And he said, you're crazy, whatever, it's just pregnancy hormones, something or other, blah, blah, blah. I instructed my father telepathically not to make fun of my mom, that she was about to start crying. And he stopped and he said, I'm sorry, I will never make fun of you again. So apparently I could talk to him too, telepathically. Whatever. So then I remember my mother had an OB appointment. She was talking to someone like on the phone or something, or in the room, I couldn't tell. And they were asking her to say the date of the next OB appointment in 3 different ways. So she said, well, it's tomorrow. It's, I think she said July 11th, 1974. Then she said 07/11/74. And she couldn't think of a third way. And since we were studying astrology already, I said, why don't you say Cancer 11/74 or something like that, 1974. And she said, of course, Cancer 11/1974. So not long after that, Mom passed out. I think I blacked out as well. I was cut from her womb and placed in some weirdo holding tank. I always thought it was another woman's womb or something, but it was huge. And I'm thinking back, trying to remember. It was like bluish water, and there were other kids in there that would, like, there was someone behind me, a child, infant, whatever, embryo, whatever you want to call it, baby behind me. I thought, I didn't even know they were there until she moved her leg later on, and I was like, whoa, I didn't even know you're there. I backed myself in the corner of the tank and was trying to watch everyone. And there was a little blinky-eyed girl over here. She had dark, almost black eyes. I think everyone else in the tank was a male. And the only thing I can think of is maybe they were experimenting on abortifacients that worked on males and not females. But I always thought the one behind me was a male, so either I blocked the chemical from getting to that person because I didn't know they were there, and or there was a female behind me. I don't know which one it was. Anyway, right. So back, I think before I was put in the tank. Sorry, I forgot about this. The next thing I remembered was being in some sort of like lab room. It was like grayish, like a Navy vessel color. There was someone that looked like Chuck holding a baby infant that was a male, and he was trying to tell the baby that he loved the baby, and I got so mad that he said that to that baby because he didn't love that baby, and the baby was believing him, and the man said something like, I better put you down because the princess is getting jealous that I'm holding you or talking to you or something. And I said, no, I'm not getting jealous. I'm angry that you're telling this child that you love him when you don't love him. And I don't remember what happened next, but he called me princess or something then, and that was a male child that he was holding. Anyway, so then the tank, and I remember there was a yellow-eyed child in there that was getting sick, and I told him to maybe come over to this side of the tank where I was on, maybe it would help him, and I touched, he was crying because he was hungry and he couldn't eat. He was so skinny. And I went to go wipe his tear away, and I guess that's how I got the yellow eyes, another of the DNA people. So all the others must have been in the holding tank that I touched, that I just don't remember touching everyone. I remember the yellow-eyed guy. I remember my fraternal brother. I don't remember right now any of the others that were in there. Okay, Guff the room. I got the cancer. Passed out, lavish room, angry holding tank. Yellow eyes. So again, I think I have at least these colors. They're usually dark blue if I'm not angry. Then they go light brown, like tannish light brown, then green, then yellow, gray, and then obviously white. Anyone's will go white if they're that angry. All right, so then after the holding tank, see, earpiece chatter, whatever that is, says the other birthday was October 17th, 1974, which would be when we were all taken out of the tank, I guess the ones that survived the tank. I think they put me back with my mother, or they must have shut it down, the research thing or something, I don't know. But they put me back with my mother, and she didn't believe I was her child anymore because I was taken from her womb, or they had replaced her or something. I don't know what happened, but I tried to explain that I looked like her and I looked like Dad, and it sounds like Mom and Dad. So then I started researching how do you figure out if your parents are your parents, and I came up with this hierarchy of like, well, if you believe the theory of evolution, then you have to believe we were getting smarter. You have to believe we came from the apes and other animals, maybe apes. Yeah. So then my theory was that it has a God thing, it has a free choice thing, it has a hierarchy thing. So intelligence has to be one of the top hierarchies, and then it has just I guess probability. Maybe that's part of free will or something, I don't know. So anyway, I also was studying, I love ballet, so I read how to do ballet in the books, and I tarot cards, and I tried to do palmistry, but I could never find anything consistent to figure out my palms. So I gave up on palmistry. Everything's so different. They say this means this one place and it means something else somewhere else. I guess it depends on where you were born and your culture and a whole lot of other stuff that I don't understand. So then I never liked to sleep. I always would notice weird patterns in things, and turning machine methodology. I didn't solve the turning machine, but I had an idea that might help the people solve it. It was similar to the DNA. It has to have a hierarchy. I had to explain the whole thing for some reason. I couldn't just say, why don't you use, there has to be a most common letter. There is a most common letter in every language. If you start with that letter, if you know the language, you start with that letter and you figure out which whatever symbol is that letter, then it should become exponentially easier to solve if you just get one letter. So they tried that, and I think it worked. So meantime, I don't know if this was child porn or not, but Robert Michael Hodes Jr. and I were friends. They forced us to get married around 2-ish. It was on camera. Then somewhere after that, we were dumped in Amsterdam. So back from the holding tank, I believe my name was given by whoever kidnapped me. It was Issme, Arate, Tara, which is Miss Tara in Pig Latin. Jumped in Amsterdam with Robert. He decided all we could do was be peep show toddlers. So we were peep show toddlers. They gave us a little, like, I called it a platform. It's like a room, a little cube with plexiglass windows, and had a little coin thingy-bob. I remember one day I woke up and I was glued to the platform. My hands were down. My face was glued to the floor of the thing. And I was assaulted with a metal rod, or metal something rod. Somebody said Robert was paid to have that done to me. I don't know if that's true or not. So they had to cut the floor off of the little boxy thing that we were in. Well, I was in. He left. And take me to the whatever. That's where I got Amsterdam crap installed. And then for some reason I was put back in the little apartment we had. Sorry, we had like a room. It's kind of like a freaking janitor's closet. It had a closet. It had a sink and a little window, and it had a bed, a little twin bed that Robert and I shared. Only half the time we'd sleep in the closet because it was that scary. And what else? So back to the little, apartment, whatever you want to call that thing we had. And I had to take, supposedly pain meds, but someone would steal them or Robert would sell them. I don't know which. And I couldn't work, so we were behind on our bills. And then Robert decides to get a dog. And I'm like, dude, we can't afford a dog. We don't have food for ourselves. How are we going to feed the dog? So anyway, whatever. So that began the stealing of my clothes, my shoes, my everything. And everything the little prostitutes saw me have, they had to have themselves. And Robert got replaced with someone else, I think older and taller at least than him, similar brunette, weird as shit. So Robert, I guess, was taken, either he found his parents again or he was taken in protective custody. I don't know what happened to him. Eventually, I can't remember, I got a job at this sandwich shop, but not on the books because I was too young, but I would just, clean and serve and do dishes or whatever for tips. And then, so I changed my name to Tara Copper because of the color of my hair. It has like this copperish hue in the sunlight. I was always told it's blonde, but it looks more light brown to me. I don't know. It says blue blonde on my driver's license still. All right, so I changed my name to Tara Copper because I didn't know my last name. Taracopper, Copper. And worked at a sandwich shop. I see this little toddler younger than me. She wouldn't talk to me, or she didn't know her name or whatever, but we lived in this like children's orphanage or children's shelter or something, and I took her with me because I knew she didn't belong there. So we went to work. I showed her how to do dishes because it was the safest thing for her to do. I just took the knives out, and she pretty much would just play in the water, but I would try and teach her how to do dishes. But the whores were there, because obviously what I have, they have to have too. So they used to use this aloe vera lotion on their face or whatever because it would keep them looking young. And the little girl would always turn when she would hear that aloe vera. So I knew that wasn't like a name or anything, but I thought maybe it sounds like her mother's name or her friend's name or someone she knew's name. So I would call her Aloe Vera, and that was just her nickname. But one time, someone tried to burn the orphanage or shelter down for children, and little Aloe Vera would not leave the shelter, and I couldn't go down with her and me. so he had to wait for everyone to get out, and then the fireman came and got her, and had to wait for them to go down. But then as the fireman took off, I saw them handing the little aloe vera to some man, and she grabbed onto him and wouldn't let him go. So I think she made it back to her family okay. So then I climbed down. Eventually I'm put into foster care, or someone fosters me or tries to adopt me or something. I think it was the same couple that went into the sandwich shop. They used to have a baby, only their baby died somehow, and they were so sad. So I don't remember if it was the same family or if there were more than one infants that passed, but so they let me live with them, and they would always go to the grocery store on Saturdays, and they said I didn't have to go with them, but if ever I woke up and they were gone on Saturdays, that's where they were. So I remember the house they had was across this alleyway or townhouse or something from Robert's family. Because Robert, I would see his living room, and he would look out the window, and I'd look out my window and be like, well, there's Robert. Whatever. So one night, it had a little twin bed in there that I would sleep in. The twin bed was against the wall, and I would back up against the wall to sleep. Only one night I could never hit the wall, and I was just tired, and I was like, well, I'll just find it eventually. Only they must have set a perimeter up, because there was no more wall, or they just cut down a hole in the wall or something. I fell out the building. It was only on the second floor. So one story down, poof, down I go. And there was a garbage lid or a little trampoline or something there that I landed on. Anyway, I held on as long as I could, but I slipped off, and I yelled for the family, but I guess they didn't see me. Maybe I was behind the wall eventually, and I don't know what happened, but the next day I think I woke up or something, or I went to go find them and I forgot it was Saturday. So I was like, I'm gonna go to the store and see if I can find them. I go to the store, I can't find them, but there's this couple that looks a lot like them. Maybe they tried to replace them or something. I do not know. Anyway, I'm eventually kidnapped again. Somewhere along the lines, I think we went to a Germanic country or spoke to someone who sounded German, and Chuck changed my name to Tara Lea Seabolt. Tara, first name, Lea, middle name, Seabolt, last name. Gotta pause right here.